I'm back. Do you still want me? Staring at the text from my first love, I was lost in thought. Gina snatched my phone, her brow furrowed. Why are you snooping on my phone? I told you, Alex is the most important person to me. When I didn't say anything, she added another line. Of course, I'm not going to divorce you. A nerve twitched in my forehead. She seemed to have misunderstood. You're holding my phone. The color drained from Gina's face. Who is this woman? I'm back. Do you still want me? There was no other information, but I had a pretty good idea who was on the other end. Just thinking of her face sent me down a rabbit hole of memories. I didn't even notice Gina walk up behind me. She snatched my phone, her brow furrowed. Leo, since when did you make a habit of spying on other people's phones? I saw a flicker of disgust in her eyes. Before, she'd been indifferent to me, at best apathetic. She'd never been so openly emotional. I told you, Alex is the most important person to me. I narrowed my eyes. Had she really told me willingly? Or was it because I'd accidentally overheard one of their phone calls? She only confessed after she couldn't hide it anymore. After we were married. No, that wasn't a confession. It was an announcement. When I remained silent, she added another line. Of course, I'm not going to divorce you. My brow twitched. She had this completely backward. I couldn't resist reminding her. You're holding my phone. Gina swiped up. It was the only text. This definitely wasn't her phone. Gina's expression turned ugly. Who is this woman? I knew that the more I tried to hide it, the more suspicious Gina would get. So I explained bluntly. Probably my ex. Gina's hand tightened around the phone, and I had to remind her again before she gave it back. I couldn't blame her for the mix-up. Our phones were identical. Even the text was exactly the same, word for word. Her Alex had sent her the exact same message back then. I'm back. Do you still want me? What a coincidence. The only difference was the date, printed in a tiny line of text that was easy to miss. Gina had been in a hurry to leave, but suddenly she wasn't going anywhere. She sat down on the sofa and began to interrogate me, trying to sound casual. She's your ex? Even though I'd already answered, I nodded. My ex. Actually, she was my first love. My childhood sweetheart. The girl I was promised to as a kid. How long did you two date? A little over a year. If you only count from the first kiss, then yeah, we only dated for a little over a year. When did you break up? 2019. The year before Gina and I got married. Time flies. In the blink of an eye, Gina and I had been married for almost 5 years. Gina's body gradually relaxed, as if she'd decided the woman on the other end of the text wasn't a threat. Isn't our 5th anniversary coming up? We should go. Does your offer about us seeing other people still stand? Gina and I spoke at the same time, then both froze. She stared at the tips of her shoes, lost in thought. I decided to break the silence. Where were you saying we should go? To the family estate. I just said, oh, glad I hadn't gotten my hopes up. In the past, I would have assumed she wanted to celebrate our anniversary with me. Gina fell silent again. I looked at her face, half hidden in shadow. It was blank, impossible to read. I worked up the courage to ask again. That thing you said, about us seeing other people, does it still stand? She'd said it herself 2 months ago. She must have been tired of me questioning her, because she'd snapped, can you stop watching my every move? If it's that bad, we can just do our own thing. Go find someone else. At the time, the words had been so painful I could barely breathe. But now I was almost grateful she'd said them. Funny how things change. Life spares no one, but if you learn to go with the flow, it can bring you some unexpected surprises. Gina let out an unreadable laugh. Yes, of course it does. She stood up and strode toward the door. Her hand froze just before it touched the doorknob. She didn't turn around, but her voice carried clearly. I may have said we can see other people, but you are still my husband. Don't be too obvious about it. Okay, I replied calmly. I just use her as my benchmark. Anyway, I definitely wouldn't be like her, setting off fireworks all over the city or getting into a brawl at a banquet. Gina turned back to look at me. You'd better make it clear to her up front that you're married. Otherwise, a scandal would be bad for both of our families. I nodded. She had a point. I'll tell her. I looked at Gina, who still showed no sign of leaving. Is there anything else you need to instruct me on? Her fingers tapped unconsciously against her pant leg. What's her name? I don't mean anything by it. I'm just worried you'll get taken for a ride. I cut her off. Vivian. The CEO of Vivian Tech? Mrs. Vance's daughter? I believe so. I didn't know if she was the CEO of Vivian Tech. But her mom was definitely Mrs. Vance. This time, Gina didn't linger. She walked out without a backward glance. Gina sat in her car, feeling agitated. But she couldn't put her finger on what was bothering her. Thinking of Vivian, she felt a sense of relief. She knew of her, had met her once or twice. Vivian was Gina's equal in every way. Family money, looks, and she'd founded Vivian Tech all on her own. Beyond her capabilities, she was a woman of pride and principle. She must have sent that text simply because she didn't know Leo was married. A woman like that wouldn't do something so shameless for a guy like Leo. Besides, Leo didn't have that kind of charm. Her phone rang. It was Alex. She had promised to take him to a new restaurant that had just opened today. She let it ring 3 times before answering. Something came up. I'll take you next time. Though Alex was a little disappointed, he was sensible enough to tell her to take care of her business first. See? This was the kind of man she liked. She liked men like Alex, attentive, gentle, and obedient. Not sharp, rational men like Leo who always had to poke holes in everything. After thinking about it for a long time, I decided to text Vivian back. Is this you, Vivian? It is. A long time passed before she replied. So long I almost thought she wasn't going to. After all, our breakup had been ugly. So ugly she saw it as a betrayal. She left the country right after and hadn't been back once in all these years. I once thought we'd never have any contact again for the rest of our lives. That she'd want nothing to do with me until the day we died. It took me a year after she left to slowly move on. Then I married Gina. At first, I was addicted to the feeling of being with her. She had a charisma that focused all my attention on her, making me forget my troubles. I thought I might actually fall in love with her. But in the 4th year of our marriage, her old flame came back. That man, Alex, he came back. It was a cliched, dramatic story. He'd been forced to leave back then by Gina's family. After he tearfully told Gina everything, all her principles went out the window. When I found out about her and Alex, she told me firmly and unequivocally that Alex was the most important person to her. If he hadn't left, I never would have had the chance to marry her. One frightened look from Alex and Gina would turn into a spear, the tip aimed right at my throat, ready to deal a fatal blow at any moment. It was as if our 3 happy years together had never existed. But we both tacitly avoided the topic of divorce. We've been married for 5 years, but the Kents and the Shaws have been in business together for 6. The real-world financial entanglements were far more complex than they appeared on the surface. We couldn't just split up that easily. But an open relationship was fine. For people in our circle, this sort of thing was nothing new. It wasn't enough to jeopardize the money. I still felt a little anxious. I had changed so much over the years. I wondered what Vivian was like now. I'm married. I struggled to type out those 2 simple words. Agony makes time stretch on. I don't know how long passed before a question mark appeared from her. I bit my lip, torn. Finally, I just screenshotted our text exchange and sent it to her. What is this supposed to mean? The more anxious I got, the harder it was to bear. My fingers tapped repeatedly on the keyboard as I tried to choose my words carefully. I'm married, but it's not the kind of relationship you think. Before I could finish typing, she sent a picture, too. Her picture showed an empty screen. The message, "I'm back. Do you still want me?" was gone. I realized there might have been a misunderstanding and tried to delete what I'd typed. But my eyes failed me, my vision blurring. In my panic, I sent the message. I rubbed my eyes hard and quickly tried to unsend it. A few seconds later, a new message arrived. We were playing Truth or Dare this afternoon. Jax probably grabbed my phone and sent that. He deleted it right after, so I had no idea. I'm sorry if it caused you any trouble. More than disappointment, I felt shame. How arrogant was I to think she'd actually come back for me, that she would want a man who had hurt her and was still married. Just because I had lost my principles didn't mean everyone else had. How could I be like this? I sent her a mortified apology. Sorry, my mistake. Vivian didn't reply. I couldn't stand being in that empty house that didn't feel like a home. I went to my usual private club and started drinking one glass after another. In a drunken haze, I thought I saw someone familiar. She was walking toward me. She looked like Vivian, but not quite. At least, the old Vivian would never have looked at me with such a cold expression. I slowly closed my eyes. When I woke up, I was in an unfamiliar place. I sat up, massaging my temples. I looked up and my eyes met Vivian's. She was sitting on the balcony. She was wearing only a loose white shirt, her long hair casually tied up, revealing a slender, pale neck. Her sleeves were rolled up, showing a length of snowy white forearm and a long scar. 5 years had passed, but her features hadn't changed. Time had only enhanced her aura even with her brilliance toned down. It was impossible not to be drawn to her. You can tell if someone's life is going well just by looking at them. Vivian must have had a good 5 years. Vivian was the first to look away. Only then did I realize I'd been staring at her for an impolitely long time. I went into the bathroom and quickly freshened up. When I came out, Vivian had her back to me, looking at the scenery below. Vivian, thanks for not leaving me behind last night. I remembered a little of what happened. I'd gotten drunk and stubbornly refused to leave her side. She'd had no choice but to bring me back with her. She turned around. Don't mention it. I'd do the same for a stranger. I got her meaning. Don't get the wrong idea. I gave a sheepish smile. Well, I'll get going then. I won't bother you anymore. I'd only taken a few steps before she called me back. You can settle up for last night's tab. Right, the bar tab. She'd paid for it. I pulled out my phone to pay her, but she just held it out for me to add her as a contact. I don't make a habit of accepting money from people I don't know. Vivian accepted my friend request without a change in expression. Did she used to have that rule? I couldn't help but wonder. But then again, it's normal for things to change in 5 years. So, how much do I owe you? $5,280. My fingers paused. That number didn't seem right. Before I could say anything, Vivian guessed what I was thinking. That includes the dress. Her reminder jogged another memory from last night. I think I threw up on her. Our first meeting in 5 years, and I pull a stunt like that. It was mortifying. I never wanted to see her again. I rounded up and sent her $6,000, then bolted out of there. Exhausted in body and soul, I got home, took another shower, and collapsed into bed. I was half asleep when I heard the door open. It was Gina. Only she would come into my room while I was sleeping. As I listened to her footsteps, I became more alert. She stopped by my bed, and I could feel her eyes on me. I tried my best to keep my breathing steady. Everything seemed to happen in slow motion. I could hear her every move. She picked up my phone from the nightstand. I'd never changed the passcode, so she unlocked it easily. She tapped around for a moment before stopping on a certain page, as if she'd found what she was looking for. I didn't have any secrets, so I had no idea why she was suddenly looking through my phone. After a moment of silence, she let out a quiet laugh. Just as I thought. Who does he think Vivian is? Person needs to know their place. Gina turned off the phone, put it back where she found it, and left the room. Only after I heard the door click shut did I dare to turn over. I pulled the corner of the blanket and curled up. I knew what she had been looking at. My chat history with Vivian. Person needs to know their place. I repeated the words over and over in my head. I didn't know how to describe what I was feeling. It was like the most secret corner of my heart had been ripped open for all to see. I suddenly realized I was a little prouder than I'd thought. Gina's mockery cut deep. Before I knew it, my eyes were red. I buried my face deep in the pillow. Suddenly, my phone buzzed with a few notifications. I ignored it. The phone went quiet for a moment. Then it started ringing. I didn't answer, but it just kept ringing. Annoyed, I grabbed my phone. It was Vivian. I wiped the moisture from my eyes, composed myself, and waited a moment before answering. I asked her what was up. Vivian dodged the question. What's wrong with your voice?
Elite instinctively.
Nothing, just a bit of a cold. What's up? The other end was silent for a long moment. You left something here. Come and get it. Tonight. She hung up and sent me an address, not even giving me a chance to refuse. Vivian hadn't done anything wrong. She just wasn't unconditionally tolerant and good to me like she used to be. I was the one who needed to get my head straight. I got myself ready, and before I reached the destination, I practiced my smile in the mirror. We were childhood friends, after all. We knew each other inside and out. Insisting on acting like strangers would just make it seem like we had something to hide. I also brought a gift for her. Inside the box was a set of white jade Go pieces. Vivian didn't have many hobbies, but playing Go was one of them, and it was something she'd wanted even before she went abroad. I didn't miss the flash of delight in Vivian's eyes. I knew she'd like it. You got this for me? I nodded and gave her a warm smile. Vivian rolled one of the stones between her long, slender fingers. The white jade suited her perfectly. Vivian, what was it you said I left behind? Vivian opened her phone right in front of me. She sent back the extra money I'd transferred her. $720. I was confused. If it was just a transfer, why make me come all the way over here? Vivian took a sip of water. I prefer to handle transactions in person. $720. Honestly, in the time I'd wasted coming here, she could have earned that 100 times over. Still, I nodded, pretending to understand. Just as I was about to leave, Vivian finally got to the point. The money's paid back, but you still owe me a favor. I nodded, accepting it. Be my date to a gala. I froze, then cleared my throat. Every person who matters in the city knows I'm Gina Shaw's husband. Vivian didn't seem to think it was a problem. And every person who matters in the city should also know you're my childhood sweetheart. She was right. If we were open about it, I guess it wouldn't be a big deal. We didn't speak the whole way there. Just as we got out of the car, Vivian suddenly stopped. She motioned for me to take her arm. We just stepped into the main hall when we ran straight into the last person I wanted to see. Gina was staring daggers at my arm linked with Vivian's. But wasn't she on Alex's arm? She'd been taking him to all sorts of events for the past year. She'd even promoted him to be her assistant, an absurd promotion using work as a cover. So why did her face turn so sour when it was my turn? She almost lost all her composure in public. I didn't release Vivian's arm. Instead, I gave it a defiant little squeeze right in front of her. Vivian's arm was quite slender. Gina was still blocking our path. Ms. Shaw, what's the meaning of this? Vivian asked. Gina tried to pull me away, but Vivian stepped in front of her. Gina had to take a few deep breaths. Let's find somewhere more private to talk. Otherwise, we're the only ones who will be embarrassed. I glanced at the people around us. Anyone who wasn't an idiot could see what was going on with Gina and Alex. But she was a woman, the powerful Miss Shaw. She could do it and no one would care. I couldn't put it on display. I sighed and tried to explain. Vivian and I are childhood friends. Most people at this gala know that. No one will get the wrong idea. Gina snorted. Some childhood friends. I ignored her passive-aggressive tone and started to lead Vivian in another direction. Gina blocked me again. It was clear she wasn't going to let this go easily. Fine. I might as well get it over with. Outside, I walked out first and Gina followed. Alex, who never let go of Gina's arm, naturally followed along. The moment he saw me, he shot me a smug, provocative look. He deliberately pressed himself closer to Gina's arm. I was done caring about his petty little games. I just saw him as a joke now. Gina suddenly stopped, staring at Vivian in shock. Why are you following us? Well, isn't he coming along? Vivian and I said in unison, our sarcastic tones identical. Gina was speechless. Though her face was etched with annoyance, she didn't say anything more. When you want to stand on the moral high ground and judge others, you should probably check yourself first. The world doesn't hand out double standards that easily. As soon as we found an empty, secluded spot, Gina started her interrogation. What is your relationship with her? Isn't she your ex-girlfriend? I gave her a look like she was an idiot. Can't she be an ex-girlfriend and a childhood friend? All she had to do was ask anyone we knew to find out we grew up together. She was the one who never paid any attention to me, yet she was looking at me now with such a betrayed expression. Vivian, enjoying the show, decided to stir the pot. I was also his first love, and his fiancée. We had an arranged engagement. At that moment, Gina forgot all her manners. She lunged forward and grabbed Vivian by the collar. So what? I'm the one who married him. Vivian didn't back down an inch. If I hadn't left, you never would have had a chance. Now that I'm back, you don't have one anymore. He's married. He's my husband. Have you no shame? Vivian's lips curled into a smile. The one who isn't loved is the… Gina completely lost it. She raised her hand to slap Vivian, but Vivian caught her by the wrist. Vivian, far from angry, just laughed. Let's just say I let you have that one. Her words were like pouring gasoline on a fire. The two women stood there, locked in a standoff, glaring at each other. Alex tried to step in and break it up, but he was too weak to make a difference. He almost got hit by mistake. Seeing me standing off to the side watching the drama, he stormed over to me. You're enjoying this, aren't you? Watching two women fight over you? Actually, I wasn't. I couldn't figure Vivian out at all right now. But I knew Gina. This was just her possessiveness acting up, feeling like someone was trying to take her property. Still, what was the harm in winding him up a bit? He'd provoked me so many times. It was my turn to return the favor. I smirked. When you tried to pull them apart just now, it was Gina who shoved you away. I'm not just her legal husband. It looks like I have a place in her heart, too. Alex's face twisted in anger. I knew I'd hit a nerve. Gina and I had been husband and wife for 5 years. It was impossible for there to be no feelings at all. For him, that tiny bit of affection was a thorn in his side, torturing him constantly. A look of desperation flashed in Alex's eyes. My gut told me he was about to pull something. Sure enough, the next second he jumped into the lake. My body moved faster than my brain, and I jumped in right after him. He was surprised to see me jump in, too. Then he whispered in my ear, "Want to see who Gina chooses? But you're guaranteed to lose." With that, he used the momentum of his struggling to swim away, separating from me. My body grew heavier and heavier. I could swim, but my suit was waterlogged, and it felt like I had iron weights tied to me. On the shore, the two women finally realized something was wrong. Vivian panicked instantly. "Leo!" I pushed my head above the water and tried to call back to her. "I'm here." Once Vivian spotted me, she immediately dove into the water. Gina followed right behind her. Only after she saw I'd been pulled out did she seem to come to her senses and turn to swim toward Alex. My suit jacket was so heavy that Vivian had to help me take it off in the water to save me. She helped me over to a tree, then ran off. "Wait here for a minute. I'll go get you some clothes." I was too embarrassed to look up and just mumbled a quiet okay. Gina also dragged Alex ashore. Alex had been in the water a bit longer and had swallowed several mouthfuls. The moment he opened his eyes, he clung to Gina's arm and sobbed. "Gina, he pushed me. Leo pushed me." I snorted. It was his only move. I hugged my knees and yelled, "No, I didn't. He pushed me. He wanted to see who you'd really choose." Alex shook his head frantically. "I didn't." Gina looked insane. She glared down at me, her eyes murderous. "If anything happens to Alex, I will make you pay." I was speechless. "Are you just going to stand there?" He just swallowed a lungful of water. "Are you waiting for him to get pneumonia before you take him to a hospital?" Only then did Gina leave with Alex, brushing past Vivian, who was returning with a blanket. I was already shivering and sneezing uncontrollably. I took the towel Vivian brought and dried myself off. She turned her back to me and looked at the moon. I tossed her a dry towel. "You should dry off too." She'd been in such a hurry that she hadn't even dealt with her own wet clothes. Vivian only wiped her face and then stopped moving. I poked her in the back. "I'm good." When Vivian turned around, she saw me completely wrapped in the blanket, with a towel on my head. She couldn't help but burst out laughing. Annoyed, I gently tapped her with my foot. Vivian sank to her knees, looking up at me. "Leo, I'm so cold." I immediately stood up. Then let's go, quickly. I was halfway up when she pulled me back down and leaned against me. Can I just hold you for a minute? The blanket was thick and wouldn't get soaked through right away, so I let her lean on me for warmth. Leo, divorce her. I didn't say anything, pretending I hadn't heard. Leo, divorce her. I still pretended not to hear.
Leo can't.
Vivian was crying. I could hear her sobs. I shifted my body to face her. Vivian, I can't get a divorce. She closed her eyes in despair, tears falling like broken pearls. Just forget I said anything. I frantically grabbed her sleeve. Gina said we could see other people. You saw her, she has Alex, and he has a kid. Gina and I just have a marriage of convenience. I don't love her. I only love you. Vivian shook her head, not wanting to hear any more. Vivian, enough. I said enough. Don't say any more. This is the second time. The second time you didn't choose me. I guess I'm just a glutton for punishment. There won't be a third time. Vivian. She stood up and wiped away her tears. Someone will be here to pick you up soon. With that, she turned and walked away. Without a word, she was gone like a farewell wind, blowing past and disappearing. I hugged the blanket tighter around myself. What does love matter compared to money? As wonderful as Vivian was, she was just a woman. Life is long. I'll fall in love with someone else. Just like I fell in love with Gina after she left. There will be others. Someone more obedient. Time will heal everything. That's what I told myself. But I couldn't stop my eyes from turning red, my vision blurring. I never expected Gina to bring Alex home. I frowned in annoyance. Gina, are you trying to get a divorce? I'd be thrilled. As long as you give me the compensation laid out in our agreement. Gina laughed. You want a divorce? What's wrong? Your precious childhood sweetheart doesn't want you? I instinctively retorted. We've known each other for over 20 years. She cut me off before I could finish. Stop pretending. She flew out of the country this morning. I froze. She was already gone? Gina continued to taunt me. Leo, you don't understand women. A respectable woman with a reputation would never be the other woman for some man. I nodded. You're right. My one that got away isn't like yours, who's perfectly happy to be your mistress. You know, the human mind is a funny thing. The more you can't have something, the more you obsess over it. But the person you see day in and day out, they lose their appeal. They're not so exciting anymore. They just become part of the furniture. Right, Alex? He stared at me with pure hatred. I smiled back at him. Then I made a phone call right in front of him. Soon, a construction crew showed up at the door. Gina came downstairs. What are you doing? I waved a hand. I'm having the whole house wired with security cameras. Every blind spot covered. The kind that can alert the police and have smart tracking. And a backup power supply. And one day when you two aren't here, I'm going to install some pinhole cameras. Haven't decided where yet. So, I suggest certain people stay in line. No objections, Ms. Shaw? It's for security after all. Gina didn't stop me, but Alex looked flustered. This was a sign that she didn't trust him. His face was pale. I'm not feeling well. Will you come back to our room with me? He wanted to lead her away, wear her down and slowly brainwash her. I wasn't about to let them off that easy. We agreed to see other people and mine ran away. Gina wasn't going to get off scot-free. Gina, why did you save me first at the lake? Didn't you say Alex was the most important person to you? But your body's subconscious reaction doesn't lie. Who is it you really love? Alex's fingernails were digging into his palms. But he didn't stop me from pressing her. Gina just scoffed. I just got confused. I glanced at Alex. His expression was still perfectly composed. He hugged Gina's arm tightly, avoiding my gaze. I smiled. If he really believed Gina, he'd be taunting me. As for Gina, who she loves more doesn't matter to me anymore. I'm not going to feel smug just because she might care more about me. I've had a lot of time to think. Gina will never love just one person. Between me and Alex, whoever brings her more novelty, whoever can stir her pity, that's who she'll love more. To put it bluntly, the only person Gina has ever loved is herself. Lying in bed, I sent a message to Vivian. Are you already gone? The red exclamation mark on the screen was glaring. I sighed. Knowing her personality, she had probably deleted and blocked me everywhere else too. I opened my texts and read them over and over. Jax? He was like a brother to Vivian. I'd met him a few times. I found a mutual acquaintance and got his contact info. The moment I added him, a message popped up.
Hey man.
You know who I am? Of course I know who you are. Dude, do you know where Viv is? I need to find her for something. I glanced at the time. Vivian was probably still on the plane. She's busy right now. Let me ask you something first. Ask away, man. I'll tell you everything I know. I sent him the screenshot of the text message. Did you send this? Holy crap. She actually said that? What a phony. She typed it out herself. Typed it, deleted it, typed it again. I couldn't stand watching anymore, so I just grabbed her phone and sent it. And she had the nerve to say she didn't know. I played along, cursing her out a bit with him. I thought she was being fake. That's why I came to you. Dude, don't be mad. You know how Viv is. She'll never be able to let go of her pride. But she really misses you. For these past 5 years, she hasn't had a single shady character around her. Every day, she wakes up thinking about how to make money and come back. But once the company was finally on track, she started hesitating. Jax was a chatterbox. With a little prodding, he spilled everything. Thanks for telling me all this. Seriously. Jax sent back 2 blushing emojis. Heh, this poor idiot was actually happy about it. He was going to get an earful from Vivian when her plane landed. I dragged my tired body downstairs. Gina was sitting by the French windows with Alex beside her. Let's talk about the divorce, Gina. You too, Alex. The two of them sat down across from me. Gina closed her book, her gaze sharp. Leo, whoever asks for the divorce walks away with nothing. Are you sure about this? I told them not to rush. Let's listen to this recording first. Gina, split the marital assets 50-50. I'm not trying to screw you over, so don't make this difficult. Gina agreed. We arranged to go to the courthouse the following week to finalize the paperwork. On the appointed day, Gina wore the same outfit she'd worn when we first met. I had put it away after we got married. I had joked that we should wear it for our divorce too, for a sense of closure. With all the prenups in place, neither of us ever thought we'd actually get divorced. I never thought the joke would come true. After the paperwork was done, Gina offered to give me a ride. When I opened the car door, there was a painting inside. It was one I had given her. What's this? You're giving it back? Yeah. After all, it's not a painting of me. I looked up, not understanding what she meant. I never realized I look so much like Vivian from this angle. What does Vivian have to do with this? Right here by the eye. My beauty mark is missing. You painted Vivian. I almost wanted to laugh. I hadn't finished the painting at the time. I was waiting for a special pigment. But there was a problem with the pigment shipment, and it never arrived, so I gave her the painting before her birthday. Later, I touched it up with a different special paint that was only visible at night. In the daytime, it was like it was never there. It seems she never once looked at the painting at night. Good thing I was past being disappointed in her. I shook my head, feigning regret. I can't believe you found out. Gina grabbed my arm. So you never loved me? Was I just her replacement all along? Even if I said no now, she probably wouldn't believe me. I pulled my arm away. There's no point in talking about this now. Let's just have a clean break. I ran. The day I got the divorce certificate, I just ran. If I didn't, I was afraid my parents would tear me apart. But I was just so tired. I figured it out. My parents and I are different. I love money. I love having enough money to live comfortably. The divorce settlement was enough for me to live well for the rest of my life. But my parents are different. They want a never-ending stream of money. We want different things. Sooner or later, we were bound to clash. I'd already brought them enough profit with my marriage. From now on, I wanted to be free.
I'm divorced.
Do you still want me? Where are you? Downstairs, in front of your company. Vivian ran down. Through the glass, I saw her take a moment to catch her breath and fix her hair. Then she walked toward me with a calm and composed air. How could she be such a poser? Vivian looked up at me. 1,000 unspoken words in her eyes. Just as I thought she was about to utter some earth-shattering declaration of love, she spoke. "Let me see the divorce certificate." My mouth twitched. Who carries their divorce certificate around at a time like this? Vivian insisted, following me back to my place. "Leo, the divorce certificate." She started demanding it the second we were through the door. I was getting a little angry and turned to question her. "Don't you believe me?" Vivian's eyes turned red. "It's not that I don't believe you, but I've been looking forward to this for so long. I can't wait. Every day, I've imagined the moment I'd get to hold your divorce certificate in my hands." That sounded a little strange. Seeing Vivian's pathetic, puppy dog look, I didn't have the heart to tease her anymore. I handed her the certificate. She started crying again, but this time they were tears of joy. "Oh my God, my husband is finally divorced."